Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Today is Monday, which means Monday Mail Day. We are back up in this thing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also hit the subscribe button for the latest and greatest in boxing. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, Venmo, and the Patreon family. Let's get right into it. We back. This one's probably not going to be as long. Got to work my way back into the routine Monday mail days. It's been hectic up until recently, so we got to get back on track. First question is from Naquan Gates. Ego, when JERMELL Charlo gets past Erickson Lubin, do you think Hearn will fight him next? Charlo did call him out. Now, it's a little bit premature to say that because, I mean, it's boxing. And Charlo, if he does get past Lubin, he's earned the right to go after a champion in a unification, or maybe even take a soft touch because he fought mandatory Charles Hatley and now Erickson Lubin, which were on paper good fights. So I think it's a possibility, but definitely no guarantee just based on Charlo's schedule. But that would be a good fight. Charlo says he wants to fight the best, and if Hearn gets past Trout and Charlo gets past Lubin, then that's a good future fight. But it's very premature because, like I said, those are not give me fights for either. Austin Trout did very good against Charlo's brother, JERMELL Charlo, and JERMELL looked a lot bigger, so Trout's a sneaky veteran. I did see Jared Swift-Hurd getting outboxed by Tony Harrison in some of those early rounds, so it's not a give me fight for Hurd, and the Lubin fight's not a give me fight for Charlo, so we have to see how everything unfolds. Next question, Alonso Mazing. Why does Finito Lopez's record get overlooked? I've heard this question before from other people, so shout out to you. And people say, oh, why does Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., or excuse me, Sr., he went 89-0. Finito Lopez has 51. The whole idea is finishing your career with a perfect, unblemished record. If you look up a draw in the dictionary, a draw represents half a win, half a loss. Like if you look at different things that tally wins versus losses, that's how a draw would be counted. It'd be half and half. You didn't truly win like 100%. You didn't lose 100%. It was a tie, right? Finito Lopez has a draw on his record. Therefore, when people are talking about Rocky Marciano's record, he finished his career. Floyd Mayweather just finished his career at 50-0. Finito Lopez has a blemish because of the draw. And same thing with Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. He went 89-0, but a lot of those guys, who were they really? You know what I mean? To get that record. But at world level, when he started fighting other people, Frankie Randall's and different people, he did get some losses. So that's what the whole thing is. I don't think anyone's overlooking Ricardo Lopez's what he's done, but he has the draw. So that's why he's not mentioned in the perfect unblemished record, because his record is not unblemished. Next question, Larry Mellerby. What's your opinion on Chris Eubank Jr. currently? In my opinion, he has improved loads. I think he can win the tournament. What's good? What's Ego's prediction? He has a shot for sure. Him and George Groves, that would be a good fight. George Groves, I believe, is fighting next week against that Cox dude. I'm definitely going to be in tune. World Boxing Super Series has been on point so far. But to me, like, he's fighting Eubank, just fought who he was supposed to, that Yeldrim or whatever. But who is that guy? I never even really heard of him. You know what I'm saying? So I think Chris Eubank is solid, but I want to see him in there with a bigger name, like George Groves, Cox winner, because we know what George Groves does. He has some good wins on his belt. He's been in there with the best, the Carl Froches, the Badu Jacksons, and different people. Beat James DeGale, a gold medalist. So this, when we get through the rest of the tournament, this is going to be very telling to see how Chris Eubank does against someone like a Groves, if he gets past his next opponent. Next question, Smitty Smith. Hey, Ego, much thanks for your complete and on-point boxing knowledge. Thank you. Are you feeling that Anthony Joshua is afraid of Deontay Wilder at this point? If they fought right now, who would you pick? The true god of boxing knowledge. Thank you. I'm not going to say afraid, like as in shaking his boots, petrified, but despite what anyone says, I do believe that AJ views Deontay Wilder as probably the biggest threat in the division. And the proof is in the pudding. The reason I believe that is because you fought 41-year-old Klitschko coming off of a loss, and you didn't do no interview saying, I should wait, the fight shouldn't happen. You were all about that because you sparred Klitschko in the past. You probably really felt that you had a strong chance to beat him. You know what I'm saying? But with Deontay Wilder, he's saying, hey, it may happen next year, the year after that, 2020. The only thing 2020 I like is vision. I'm not trying to wait till 2020 to see that AJ versus Wilder. So I'm not going to say he's afraid, but I do think he has some hesitation because he realizes Deontay Wilder stylistically probably has the most for him and would push him to the brink. Like Klitschko hurt Joshua, dropped him, and started outboxing him in those early rounds. Wilder, if he hits you with that right, there's no chance. I mean, I'm not going to say there's no chance, but there's no guarantee that you can get up and finish the fight and survive his onslaught because he's way more aggressive than a 41-year-old Klitschko. So I think Joshua is just trying to soak up as much knowledge as he can and fight around. You know what I mean? He'd probably rather fight David Haye than fight Deontay Wilder because he brought up David Haye's name recently in an interview with Sky News. And David Haye got stopped by Tony Bellew and has to redeem that in December. So not gonna say he's like just trembling. He is a fighter, so I'll give him that respect. But I think he realizes that Deontay Wilder is not for play, and he has to be fully ready and make sure he's ready mentally, physically for Deontay Wilder. In my opinion, I would favor Wilder to beat AJ if they happen to fight soon. Next question, Michael Perez. Ego, you doing big things. I'm glad, brother. Bless this channel. Love the content. Thank you. COTTO versus LEMIEUX. Who wins in your opinion? Respects for submitting the question, but it's of no consequences because they're saying COTTO is probably going to fight Saddam Ali. So to me, that shows probably that the COTTO didn't want to choose LEMIEUX for his last fight. So it doesn't really matter what I think. I think LEMIEX definitely has a shot to beat COTTO because he's just the bigger man. You know what I mean? He has that power, but maybe COTTO would have been able to hold him off and outbox him. I really don't know, but I'm not going to put too much thought into it since he's fighting a welterweight in Saddam Ali, who was stopped last year, I think, versus Jesse Vargas. So, and he's saying that's his final fight, so it doesn't really matter what I think. Next question. Dead Presidents Boxing. Congrats on reaching 100,000 Ego. Started from the bottom, now we here, 100. Question, thank you for that. Now that JERMELL is no longer with trainer Ronnie Shields, if he gets past Erickson Lubin, do you see a future unification with him and LARA? And if so, who do you favor? Thanks, bro. That's a good question. That's a real good question. I'm not sure. I don't know how close, because I just seen they were doing a Houston hurricane relief effort, and both Charlos were with Erislandy Lara, and they were all like laughing and joking, packing like care packages and boxes of canned goods and stuff like that. You should be able to go to PBC's page, I think is where I seen it. So I don't know that he would fight against Lara, even though he has a different trainer, because at the end of the day, I think his brother is still training over there with him. And it looks like, based on what I've seen there, looks like they had a good relationship. So I don't know. I don't know if that fight would happen. I really don't. Next question, Julian Henley. I've heard a lot of boxers calling Eddie Hearns to be promoted by him because Al Haymon have fighters in the stable ready to fight, but only fighting once or twice if you're lucky. Do you feel it's helping or hurting the sport with PBC? And do you think Eddie could shake things up? That's really hearsay. I mean, Eddie Hearn's the only one that I've seen said that all these fighters are calling. I mean, he didn't list no one by name, so who knows? This could be like a fighter with 9 losses, who's almost on his way out, who hasn't had an opportunity. So I don't really, I'm not gonna, I seen the article and the interview where Eddie Hearn said that, but I'm not gonna really put too much, because like he didn't release specifics. Now if he was like, hey, Keith Thurman called me and he says he ain't liking certain things and he wants me to promote him, that's different. But unless I know what fighter it is, then that doesn't really mean nothing to me. That's just his personal opinion. But Eddie Hearn, he's a great promoter. And this is the thing, people keep making it like this is the Eddie Hearn versus the Al Haymon thing. Al Haymon and Eddie Hearn have a good relationship. Danny Jacobs is being promoted now by Eddie Hearn, but he's still with Al Haymon. You guys got to do the research. When he announced it on that HBO card, he did interviews that same night, and Danny Jacobs said, I started my career with Al Haymon and I'm going to finish my career with Al Haymon. So people are trying to make it like some separatist, like it's Eddie Hearn is stealing Al Haymon. Al Haymon is an advisor. He's not a promoter. That's the difference. He's not a promoter. So he doesn't, when he has a fight card on Showtime, Lou DiBella or somebody else, Richard Schaefer, is promoting the card. He's just an advisor helping steer and guide. So, and you can't have those dual roles. You can't be an advisor, manager, or whatever, plus be a promoter. So there's really no problem with Eddie Hearn promoting Al Haymon fighters. If anything, he'll just add them to maybe some UK dates or whatever, and get them more fights. So people are making more of a deal of it than what it is to me. Next question, Ronald Perez. What's up, Ego? My question is, who do you see winning the RigondeauX versus Loma fight? And do you think Rigo can get the decision on a close fight, or he has to stop Loma or clearly beat him to get the W? Politics usually prevail. So if it's like a tooth and nail, like Canelo, Triple G, Ward, Kovalev 1, I don't see them giving the fight to RigondeauX. I think he's going to either have to win by knockout, or not even just a knockout, but just a donaire performance where you could see the separation in some of those later rounds and tell who won. So I don't think he has to necessarily knock him out, but he's going to have to win decisively, because if it's, like I said, Ward Kovalev 1, where it's up to interpretation, they'll probably lean towards the guy that they're trying to build, the guy that ESPN and HBO was saying is pound for pound #1, the guy that Top Rank has invested so much money to. So he's going to have to show some separation here. That's just my honest opinion on the situation. So I don't know who's going to win at the moment. And the final question, I forgot to highlight that one. Everyone is saying that Lubin is an Errol Spence Jr. type talent. Since Charlo is training with Spence, does that give him an edge? And if so, by how much? Thanks. Nah, that's just a comparison. And the people who are saying it are fans. I haven't really heard another trainer that says Erickson Lubin is the Errol Spence of 154. The only people I've seen say that are people in the comment section. So it doesn't really give him an advantage, because at the end of the day, they're two different fighters. You know what I mean? I think Errol Spence Jr. does better body work than what I've seen from Erickson Lubin. But they both are southpaw, both have power, and they both seem to be good fighters. So that comparison is really fan-made from what I've seen. And it just, like I said, unless I heard people who spar with both of them, and then they made that assertion, then that's kind of just fan talk. So I don't think that gives JERMELL an advantage. Plus, JERMELL is friends with Errol Spence Jr. So when you're sparring, maybe you guys are sparring to help and improve and get each other better. But at the end of the day, Erickson Lubin and him, there's been some trash talk. So they're not going to be sparring as friends or fighting under the bright lights as friends. They're going to be sparring, or excuse me, fighting to try to take each other's heads off. So it's a little bit different of a threat, because Erickson Lubin is saying, oh, he's a paper champion. I know that has to get under JERMELL's skin. I mean, who wants to get called a paper champion? And saying, oh, I'm going to go for the knockout, and who's he beat, and this, that, and the third. So should be a good fight, but I don't see people drawing similarities from Erickson Hammer Lubin and Errol Spence Jr. I don't really see that as a benefit, because at the end of the day, they are two different fighters. even if there are a ton of similarities that people feel, like the southpaw, the power and stuff, they still fight different, and they're still fighting with different intent. I don't think Errol Spence Jr., I mean, obviously he's not trying to get dogged in sparring, but he's trying to help JERMELL prepare for the fight. You know what I'm saying? Vice versa. Erickson Lubin is trying to take something that JERMELL has, which is his credibility and his title. You know what I mean? So it's really just two different things. So I told you I was going to keep this one short. We're going to work our way back up into the Monday mail days and get the ball rolling. But make sure you guys submit your questions. I'll be back with some more videos and content. Hit the subscribe button. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.